Okay, let's raise big questions on the show tonight. The Red Fort blast, is it the outcome now of a white-collar terror network? Is the radicalization of professionals now posing a new threat to security agencies? Is the Delhi terror result also of a major security blast, and who will be held accountable for that? Is there a link between the Kashmir and Delhi, between the Kashmir Valley and the Delhi blasts? That's the questions I want to raise right at the top. We'll also put out unanswered questions in a moment. General VP Malik, former Army Chief, joins me. Neeraj Kumar, former Commissioner of Police, Delhi. I'm also joined by Dr. Kiran Bedi, former IPS officer with us. We'll be joined in a moment by Soumya Avasthi, a counter-terrorism expert. Thank you all very much for joining us. I want to first come to each of you. And General Malik, as someone who's looked at these issues over the years, from your vantage position, do you get a sense that we are now seeing the emergence of a new form of terror in particular, and the links that we are seeing between possibly doctors in the Kashmir Valley and indeed terror modules, sleeper cells?
Yes, Rajdeep, good evening to you and to my panelists and those who are watching this program. But before that, I want to tell you that after Operation Sindoor, a lot of people asked me that after this, is terrorism, these terror attacks are likely to be over? And I said no. At that time also I said no, they will continue. Why? Because cross-border terrorism is not a policy of Jaish or Lashkar-e-Taiba. It is a national policy of those people in uniform in Pakistan. And today they are headed by somebody who's emboldened, who he heads the whole organization. He had made himself field marshal. He's anti-Indian and he's anti-Hindu. And therefore, you are likely to see these things more, I think, in future.
Now, you're making a very serious. You're claiming that what happened in Delhi last night must be linked to Asim Munir becoming virtually the de facto head of Pakistan, field marshal, self-appointed in a way, taking over the country, and his sort of anti-Hindu, anti-India rhetoric and the blasts that have taken place, and also linking it to Operation Sindoor. Am I correct, General?
Yes, you are correct. And why I am saying is that let's not go through this one incident or two incidents. I'm talking of the policy. The policy is not made by Jaish-e-Mohammed or Lashkar-e-Taiba. The policy has been made by the head of the state, our virtual head of the state, who is, we all know, Field Marshal Asim Munir. And you know the kind of a person he is. And currently he stands emboldened. That also I would like to say here. Now, having said that...
But I just want to say this, if I may push you a little further, General, on that. You will recall that when Operation Sindoor took place, the Prime Minister of the country said any act of terror will be treated as an act of war. Now, if this is established as a terror attack, and it seems to now clearly be heading that way with the NIA taking over, should we treat it as an act of war? And therefore, should the response be proportionate to what happened? How do you respond? Because you're on an escalatory ladder then, General.
Look, the response has to be there, and I'm sure it will be there. In fact, the Prime Minister has already mentioned that. But what kind of response, what level of response, I think it will have to be left to the people. And it is too early for us to predict that because we still are investigating the whole issue. But if it is proved to be something which has been initiated at the behest of the Pakistan Army and their ISI, then I think the response will have to be more serious. Now, coming to your second part of the question, and that is what has Red Fort terror attack exposed? I think it has exposed a new terror strategy and methodology. It has also raised some very disturbing facts and disturbing questions. And I think we need to look into that. The first is, as we said, that this is this has been done some people who are well-to-do, who are well-educated, who are white-collar professionals, and they have been indoctrinated, they have been radicalized, and they are not only in India, in Kashmir, but I think that they are also outside. So it's a
Right.
within the nation, it is a transnational activity which is going on, which has been exposed. And this is, uh, now we have to be more alert. We have to ascertain as to what all has happened. There's a huge lot of work which has to be done by the investigating agencies. Now
I'm,
we
I'm
all
just
know we have
I'm
to
just going to
figure out.
stop you, General, because you've raised many unanswered questions. I just want to take them to my other panelists just for a moment because I want to put those questions up. How did the car evade? Because we have a former police commissioner of Delhi and a top cop with us. How did the car evade police checks when a search was on for this specific individual? Is my first unanswered question. Was it a planned attack or a panic attack, as the investigators are now claiming? Were there inter-agency failures? Was there a larger terror plot brewing? Has the whole terror network been busted? Neeraj Kumar, why don't you take that first, because you worked as Delhi Police Commissioner. Is it impossible to patrol every corner, every mohalla of a city sprawling like Delhi, particularly crowded areas like Chandni Chowk, even though there may be information that one of those involved in the module which was busted was on the run? Do you believe it's impossible to do that, or do you believe there's a security lapse?
Well, I don't think that it is a security lapse because unless the information or the intelligence is specific, saying what is the number of the car, where it is, where exactly it is likely to be seen, etc., it is not possible to intercept it. However, there ought to have been a general alert. I'm not too sure whether it was there or not. I'm not too sure whether the kind of checking that was required was on at that point of time. But I want to emphasize one thing. It's all very easy to say that, well, we had alerted Delhi police that so-and-so would be visiting uh, Delhi. Unless the information is specific, it is almost impossible to intercept a vehicle
Okay.
in the crowded areas where it was found.
Kiran Bedi, you want to weigh in on that? Because there will be those who will say that here was a vehicle that was moving for 3 hours. Apparently, of course, as Neeraj Kumar says, specifics were not available of the vehicle. All that was known that a particular individual, Dr. Umar, had escaped from that terror module in Faridabad. Was that enough, you believe? Or do you believe it's impossible at one level to check every vehicle, especially in crowded areas?
Yes, in this case, the information ought to have been a little more specific. Maybe the car number, maybe the car color, maybe the make of the car. I think that kind of specificity will narrow down accountability. Then they could have checked all Hyundai cars, they could have checked all off-white cars, or they could have checked by numbers. I think that could have been said. If that had become more specific, you couldn't say, well, we did not do our homework well. So I think the information, you just cannot say we said it and there's somebody on the move. Now who?
Okay.
Which car? What number? I think needed to become more specific. But we must give full credit to the J&K police for having done such an amazing detection. But I want to say there is a new trend here. I think why was this man, is an unanswered question. Why did this man park for so long at Red Fort? Why? Was he waiting for a signal? Was he waiting for an opportunity? Why? Why would somebody who knows he has ammunition in the dicky, he would wait and park itself, that too somewhere near the Suneri Masjid, somewhere there, which is not an insensitive place, but a sensitive place. But he parked for so long. Why did he drive out? Was he waiting for a message? And I also think that he was moving to pass on this message, this ammunition to somewhere ahead of Red Fort, because it has got blasted while moving. So he is not stationing to blast it. He's moving. Now, in the moving, but he's moving. Now, why is he moving? And if he wants a crowd panic, then he could have gone into a Chandni Chowk. So I think he was carrying this ammunition towards the northwest Delhi and to probably some sleeper cells to deliver. Because after all, he has left behind 2.9 tons of ammunition in his house. He's carrying only little bit in his dicky. So he is probably carrying it. Why would he, as a doctor and as a leader of this group, who's probably made a lot of money out of it, because this cannot be moneyless, made a lot of money out of it, I'm sure. This sleeper cell and this radicalized white collar crime is nothing but huge money amount. He's probably going somewhere. We need to know that. I think these are two things which are unanswered from us.
That's a very important point you raised, because it was possible that this ammunition was going to be taken to another place within the national capital to cause an even bigger blast, given the kind of ammunition that he possessed. And did he panic is the question. But Soumya Awasthi, there is also the question that these are all those who are being arrested, or a number of them are doctors. One of them a female doctor, two of them male, all from in and around Pulwama. Are we seeing, as we saw during the rise of Simi and the emergence of Simi in the early 2000s, professionals, now white collar, perhaps becoming part of these terror sleeper cells? Is that a recent phenomenon, or do you believe it's been building up for a while?
Thank you, Rajdeep. So I think it's not a new phenomenon altogether, and this was very much part of the module which was used by Simi, or we talk about Popular Front of India. They have all been focusing on diaspora or the people who are educated class, engineers or political scientists. In fact, I remember interviewing one of the overground workers in Kashmir post Pahalgam attack, and he was masters in political science. So it's not that the white collar jihadists is a new phenomena. It's just that now more and more people are volunteering to join these terror groups. And that is a worrisome situation, because if the educated is behaving in such a manner, it can cause havoc for any nation which is sheltering them. And this doesn't, it has no question, but yes, they are, the attack was more of a panic attack, because the raids that were taking since morning, they were rattling out all the names which were connected to these perpetrators. And in that panic, I think he wanted to, as Kiran ma'am highlighted, that it was more of a panic because he wanted to relocate before getting caught. And in that process, he detonated those, or the blast took place.
But Soumya, you're saying that these white-collar professionals, this is not a post-Operation Sindoor phenomenon.
No,
you're seeing this building in Kashmir Valley, possibly over the last 4 or 5 years that we've seen this happen. And this could, in a sense, represent a new challenge, because perhaps these are new sleeper cells without many of them having any history of being involved in previous terror activities. These are not cross-border terrorists. These are homegrown, which is another big challenge.
Yes, that is true. And also when you talk about radicalization, if you see what kind of and the sleeper cells, in fact, when it was this ceasefire happened, there was a lot of worry that now more and more sleeper cells will get activated while the drones were firing at each other in the border areas. And the sleeper cells was activated post ceasefire itself. So it was not that when will it happen? It will happen or not, but it was more about when will it happen. So there was a bigger plan in the mind, but it had to be cut short, and that's what we saw happening at the Red Fort. And yes, it is a matter of worry. Online jihad course being launched by Jaish-e-Mohammed. One of the women, Shahina, who was also member of the JEMs, apparently she was heading the women wing for India on behalf of JEMs. So all these things do cause worry for us, and social media has to be held responsible, because,
No, why is social media to be held responsible?
Yeah, because nowadays more and more youth is getting, mind is getting polluted by these untrue stories, which are, fabricated stories, fake videos. But activism that has come youth without having enough understanding of the background issue has also become a potent weapon in the hands of terrorist organizations that are using social media platforms to radicalize the people. So we don't need a field. They are using gaming applications. They are using the communication channels to radicalize and do propagandas.
That makes it more dangerous, General Malik. You've got someone like Asim Munir as the field marshal in Pakistan. You've got someone who is determined in a way to use what Zulfikar Bhutto once said, to bleed India with 1,000 cuts. Then you have this radicalization taking place. You've got the instability in Kashmir that continues to exist, a sense of anger, possibly frustration, certainly among some youth continues. It is a potent mix, isn't it? And that poses even more security challenges, particularly, as I said, with these white-collar professionals emerging as part of these sleeper cells.
No, I agree with you that today's security threat is much more, particularly because of the leadership that we have in Pakistan and the kind of policies. Rajdeep, I'm not very happy because our focus is too much, while the investigation is going on, but our focus is too much on these proxies. We are not looking at the people who are teaching, who are supporting, who are creating these proxies. And we are not paying much attention to that part. After all, it is the ISI which has created all these proxies, and they are the ones who are funding them. They are giving them intelligence. They are giving them missions, what to do, where to do, and all that which has been going on. So that is why I am saying that let's not look only at the short-term problem, which is there, of course, which may increase, but let us also look at the long-term problem. After all, how do we get hold of some policies, some strategies where we can target the people who are perpetrating, who are creating these missions for the proxies? So that is why I feel that our focus should not only be on Lashkar-e-Taiba or Jaish and all. We should be looking at the ISI, which is controlled by the Pakistan Army.
Given what you're saying, Neeraj Kumar, how prepared are the police force, honestly, to be able to tackle these new challenges? It's one thing that the NIA claims to be a specialized anti-terror unit, but you've got now the emergence of these new models. Credit to the Jammu and Kashmir police. Let's give them credit that they almost have busted that entire module. It could have been far worse. But given what we've seen, is that a big challenge? How prepared are the police across the country? It's not just Jammu and Kashmir, but across the country to face this new challenge. You're on mute. You're on mute, Neeraj. You're on mute, sir. Yes, go ahead.
I fully agree with you that this is a new challenge that we are facing of white collar, as what you call a white collar terror. I'm not too sure whether it's a very apt description of this new phenomena. But please do not forget that so far the Delhi police may have slipped on, not preventing this incident. But if you go by the record of the Delhi police in the past in dealing with crime, terrorist crime, it has done extremely well. And almost every incident in the past, whether it is the Parliament House attack, whether it is Delhi High Court blast, or whether it's the Red Fort attack, all these major terror incidents that have happened in Delhi have been solved. And they have been solved by the Delhi police, not by any external agency.
So, okay.
What I'm trying to say that even in the current investigation, the Delhi police is playing a very important role, and rightly so, because the blast has taken place in Delhi, and it has interstate linkages. So surely other states are also chipping in. But
no, I take your point, sir. I take your point. But the point I want to raise, Kiran Bedi, is quite simply this to conclude, is that given the nature of challenges, the multiple challenges that you face, there are cyber threats now, there are threats coming through social media, there are groups now congregating through social media. Do you believe that the police is equipped to tackle these multiple challenges? The J&K police at least has its ear to the ground, because many of these sleeper cells have links to the Kashmir Valley. But across India, are we prepared to face these new challenges that might emerge? A quick answer.
Yes, can, provided they stay united. Besides, if they stay collaborative, work as coalitions, work as regional police forces, not as one state like we did. If J&K quickly informed Haryana, Haryana informed Delhi, but the best is the way the investigation is now so very unified. I think the way everybody is pooling, I think resources will get generated if they work as coalitions, a proper exchange of information, and not be competitive in declaring who did what, but be coordinated. I think that's the solution, nothing else. Otherwise, the second thing is why? Because there's sleeper cells spread out all over the country. This reveals 2.9 tons was for sleeper cells all over the country. Now these states have to work together to identify these sleeper cells.
Right.
And these sleeper cells are probably in the educated communities, schools, colleges, universities, hospitals. You never know where. So I think now this is the pattern where
Right.
if we reach out to the educated, you may start having certain other narratives coming in that we are getting after that. I think this case reveals we have ecosystems to blast. And in the ecosystems, they are also in religious institutions.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there.
Including money trail. Including
Okay.
money trail, Rajdeep. Including money, because this doesn't happen without big money.
Okay, let's leave it there. Lots of interesting insights raised with four very fine minds. I appreciate all of you joining us here. But